Yes. I was just reading this penalties for failure to report and false reporting of child abuse and neglect. Yes. This false reporting of child abuse and neglect. Yeah. 7 hours of parenting classes is not child abuse. And as a father, I did not commit any neglect. Yes. Now, state statutes current through August of 2015. Now, since I wasn't in Sequim, Washington, under the penalty of perjury, why is it that you won't allow me to file a false police report? Now, approximately 48 states, the District of Columbia, Guam, Northern Marianas, and American Samoa impose penalties on mandatory reporters who knowingly, and willfully, yes, fail to make a report when they suspect that a child is being abused or neglected. Now that protection order where the petitioner didn't sign it, yeah, where there's a forgery, happens to be against the law. When you issued a protection order 2,650 days ago, yes, it was against the law. When you arrested me for the false police report of attempting to contact the petitioner through the domestic violence advocacy charity in Clallam County, it was against the law. Now, 20 states in the District of Columbia, Guam, and Northern Marianas specify the reporting laws, the penalties for failure to report. Yes. Mandatory reporter who fails to report can face jail terms from 30 days to 5 years. Fines ranging from $300 to $10,000. Oh, 5 years. Some reason why you thought I was in Sequim, Washington when I was in Port Angeles. Oh. Florida imposes a fine up to $1 million on any institution of higher learning or any state, university, non-public college who fails to report or prevents any person from reporting an instance of abuse committed on the property of the institution or at an event sponsored by the institution. Now, for every institution, Lutheran University, yes, where Heidi was getting her teaching certificate. Now, obstructing reports of abuse or neglect. 10 states impose penalties against any employer. Misdemeanor, Connecticut. 3 states specify the penalties. Pennsylvania, a person commits a felony if he or she uses penalties for false reporting. Yeah. Approximately 29 states carry penalties in their civil child protection laws for any person who willfully or intentionally makes a report of child abuse or neglect that the reporter knows to be false. Heidi made a false police report on Guam. Yeah. Then when she filed for a protection order, she made a false declaration. Yes. You obstructed my rights for 2,650 days. District of Columbia. Making false reports of child maltreatment is made illegal in criminal sections of state codes. Yes. Washington State. Um, just so that I know, okay. This false police report that I was in Sequim, Washington. Yes. Why is it that I haven't gotten a phone call? Oh, now, Mississippi, Virginia, false reporting can be an evil. Now, I was an imprint in Washington on June 16th of 2017. Why is it that the Port Angeles Police Department doesn't admit Washington, D.C.? Yes. Child Welfare Information Gateway penalties for failure to report and false reporting of child abuse and neglect. Washington, District of Columbia, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Children's Bureau. Is there a lot of institutions of the federal government in Washington, D.C.? Why don't you give me every office of the United States federal government that happens to have the employment of the employees in those offices in the District of Columbia? Now, let's say you're an employee and I reported the issuance of protection orders that use forgeries, ooch, then being arrested numerous times, yes, where it was false police reporting. I'm going to sue every federal government employee that resides in the state, the District of Columbia. Why don't you give me the residences of those in the federal government, that their actual place of employment, the location where they go to work? Yes. Is in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Service, the Children's Bureau, that happens to have the Child Welfare Information Gateway? Yes. It could be that the federal government employees that work at the federal institutions that happen to be in the location of Washington, District of Columbia. Each and every one of them could go to prison for a small amount.